Number 7 says evaluate the indefinite integral. Tangent cubed of 14x times secant to the 5th power of 14x dx. And so observe that tangent is to an odd power, and so is secant. And so that should tell us to save secant of 14x tangent of 14x dx for du. And when we do this, the integral becomes the integral of tangent squared of 14x times secant to the 4th power of 14x times secant x tangent x dx. Now what we should do from here is we want to convert one of these. So we're saving this for du. We don't use this until the end. What we want to do now is figure out, well, what is the antiderivative of secant tangent? And it would just be secant. And so what that's telling us is that we have to convert all of the tangents into secants. And so tangent squared of 14x is really secant squared of 14x minus 1. And so I replace tangent with secant squared 14x minus 1. And then I'll multiply by secant to the 4th power of 14x. And my du still comes down here. I'll actually rewrite it as a du down here for now. And so just to preserve, so I don't have to keep rewriting this part, so the next part would be to distribute. And so now I have the integral of secant to the 6th power of 14x minus secant to the 4th power of 14x du. And now we can let u equal secant of 14x. Then du has to equal 1 over 14. Well, du has to equal 14 secant of 14x times tangent of 14x, or 1 over 14 du is equal to secant 14x tangent 14x. Using this u substitution now, we can rewrite this integral as u to the 6th power minus u to the 4th power. And we have to bring out the 1/14. And so now what we're just left with is 1 over 14. U goes back to secant of 14x. So this is secant to the 6th power of 14x minus oh, I apologize. And so this should actually be to the 7th power, because I forgot to take the antiderivative. And so when we have this, we can say we add 1 to the power and divide by that number. And so this should be this, technically. And I'll rewrite it and make it look neater in a second. And then so when I take the antiderivative of this side, I would have 1 over 14 times, add 1 to this power, and so it would be a 5. And then we would have secant to the 5th power of 14x. Well, when I rewrite this neater, I have 1 over 7 times 2, and then we multiply another group of 7. So 49 times 2, that's like 98. So I have 1 over 98 secant 7 to the 7th power of 14x minus 1 over 70 secant to the 5th power of 14x plus c. And so this would be our final answer.